Hi ladies. So I thought I would do something a little bit crazy and record my day two today, even though I've been in here earlier. I thought I would record it today just to kind of stay on track with my schedule for this week. So in this quick video, I'll be sharing with you the second step that I took. Once I'd decided that I wanted to write my book, once I had essentially created an environment for success, i.e., chosen the experience that I wanted to have, which was one of fun, joy, healing, expansion, and all of the things. I then looked at ways that I could, and obviously I had made it like super fun, kept myself accountable, knew how to. Hi, Joanne. Hi. So I'm just talking at the moment about the process I went through as a live series to write my book. So essentially, I did my day one earlier because I wasn't in the group yesterday. So this is like my day two video. So once I had, like I said, decided that I was going to write the book, created an environment for success, got out of my own way and created a plan and a way to ensure that I actually did the damn thing. The next step that I did or took was to essentially create a framework for my book. So I wanted to, and this is the same thing that I do even when I'm writing a blog post, when I'm writing a program, it's like the same sort of process for me. So I essentially sit down and do a bit of journaling first of all and think about like the bigger, hi Emily, oh my God, like everybody's here at this time, no one was here this morning. But I essentially create like the bigger picture concept for what is it that I actually want to create? What is it that I actually want to deliver? Like, what is the result? What is the journey? What is the transformation? So that I've just got, I've got some element of like big picture, and I like to channel that as much as possible. So not necessarily think it too much in my logical brain, i.e. like what steps, but just very like almost like mind mapping, where I'll just get everything onto a paper and think, right, what is the big picture concept for me that I want to create? And like I said, that will be the same for podcast episodes, programs, blog posts, anything that I'm creating. There's always like a bigger picture purpose to it. I like the depth, and I like really diving into anything that I'm creating. So I kind of got that out the process first of all. So obviously I knew first of all I wanted it to be a money mindset book. I wanted it to be something that spoke specifically to female entrepreneurs, because a lot of because we have a unique set of challenges and opportunities as women in business, and a lot of money mindset books that I've read previously, they might cater to women, but they don't necessarily then help you to translate that into business building strategy. So I really felt like there was a gap there in the market. So that was, oh, has my screen frozen? Let me know. So that was kind of my initial intention. I was like, it needs to speak specifically to women in business. I need to have like some strategy elements in there, but I also wanted to bring in some of the other modalities that I use, like breathwork, EFT. I wanted to, talk about spiritual concepts such as manifestation as well. Now, I obviously have taken that work one step further, and I also use human design and wealth abundance codes. But I just thought for the first book, that's quite a heavy topic, and I want to make this as accessible as possible. So perhaps that will be, activating your wealth abundance with your human design codes and all of those things. Will probably be like maybe book number 2 or book number 3. So I straight away eliminated the things that I didn't want to include, because I thought that's just going to take it off topic. It's not going to feel as accessible. If you're only somewhat curious about spirituality, that's probably going to be a hard pass. And I wanted to support as many people as possible. So that was part of my initial like brainstorming and really feeling in and like dropping down into my heart center and thinking, what do I actually want to create here? What do I actually want to talk about? What do I think is missing? And then from there, I was able to create a framework, which essentially then started to get into the specifics of the journey. So for me, I've split the book into I think 3 sections. So the first one is all around mindset, because equally that mirrors my journey. So first of all, and the modalities that I added as on my own like personal development and business growth, coaching journey. So the first thing I did when I started, I'd kind of knocked off the strategy element was, I became a hypnotherapist. I trained in timeline therapy, and I added NLP. I became an NLP practitioner. And I really leaned into that kind of masculine psychology, like why do people do what they do? I've got a master's degree with psychology anyway. So it was just kind of layering in more of that. But then from there, obviously, there's a whole missing piece, isn't there, around energetics and spirituality and manifestation and all the things. So that is how the book was structured. It was like to mirror my own personal journey. So the first section is all around mindset. The next, and typically that's where most businesses, most money mindset books finish. But then I brought in the energetics because that's wholeness for me. I talk about all of the things with my clients. It's never just one thing. It's every layer, every every kind of like level to working on yourself. And then the last one was strategy. So, i.e., like now we know that there is all this abundance out there. Now that we've identified the beliefs that are keeping us from tapping into that, how do we now apply that to our business? How can you actually make me more money? And again, I always felt like that was a missing piece in a lot of money mindset books. So then I had those three loose, like core foundational like pillars or milestones in the book. Then I could go in and start really building out like the skeleton. So it's like, okay, how do I need to now, like, what is the journey? So the first journey is like the introduction. So that's the introduction to me, to this work, why this is so important that, spiritual women, healers, coaches, consultants, solopreneurs do this work. It's not just about us. It's also about the collective and how we can make that bigger change in the world, why the world ultimately needs you to be wealthy, but all of the reasons why it's not a you problem, it's a we problem. All of the reasons why it's so goddamn hard to make money as a woman. So I've gone through all of that. So it really kind of sets the scene. So what they talk about in the book writing journey is front loading your book so that people are really invested from the outset. Sorry, can you see all of the absolute crap in my background? I'm essentially, I would say moving house, but it's like that. I've essentially moved the whole house round from top to bottom. So it feels like I'm moving house right now. I've got boxes coming out my ears. So essentially, so that they could really understand like the opportunity and all of the things. So that was, and they talk about why that's so important is to really get people hooked, because here's the thing, like hardly anybody actually reads. Yay, yes, that's it. Yeah, it was so blimmin' hard not to include the human design element, because that also factors. I think I've touched in it a little bit on the business strategy, because here's the thing, like you have to work in alignment with your human design, or anything that you put out there is going to be a little bit counterproductive. So I did have to include it, but only top line in the strategy element, because I feel wholeheartedly that we should not all be marketing and selling our services in the same way, because we are all so different. So I did touch on it a little bit, but in terms of like abundance codes and all the things, that's like a whole book in itself. So I will come back to that, absolutely. But yeah, so you have to front load your book to really get people invested, because not many people finish a book. And I'm sure, I've done that definitely, where I'm like, right, I got what I needed from the front of the book, the first few chapters, so much value, like I feel good. Like you planted the seed, I'm good from here. Or it's just not that exciting. So that's again why I've cut it up into segments, because it's very consumable, it's very practical, it's very implementatable. That's not a word, but I just made it up. And that for me is the key thing. Like I don't want somebody to just read a book and be like, wow, yeah, amazing. I want people to go away and actually implement strategies. I want it to feel accessible. I want them to understand the why they feel this way, why these beliefs are coming up for them, how they can then move through it, so that it just becomes a way of being going forwards, rather than something they've got to consciously remember. Like I really try and translate as much as what I've learned over the years, and supporting my clients, and I try and make it as translatable and accessible as possible. So with all of this, I'm always taking this into consideration. When I wrote the framework, it was like, right, how do I front load it? How do I position it? How do I get people invested? How do I then section it so people can take little bits and pieces and leave what they, take what they need and leave what they don't. So that was all part of this like initial concept framing part of my journey that I did initially. And then I filled in the gaps. It was like, right, okay, so I've done the positioning. Now, where do I start them? And it's all around like, okay, this is your money story and this is where it came from. Then it was like, okay, if I know that, what do I need to know next? how do I then take that away and embed that as a daily practice? How do I create radical self-awareness to know when I'm the block to my own success? And I was just constantly thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? As if I'm having a conversation with a client and just intuitively taking them on that journey. Yay! Thank you, Joanne. You're welcome. Feel free to use it. And that was it really. So that's how it kind of created the skeleton. That created my sections, then my subsections, and then within the sections, obviously I had to get my subheadings from there. I had an initial idea in terms of word count, which was 40,000. So then I broke that down into practically, right, how many chapters does that mean? How many words does that mean per chapter? Just to give me, again, a little bit more of a framework. And, which will probably surprise some people because I am actually quite a like just get into flow person, but equally I love a target, and that really helped me to think, okay, this chapter needs to be around 4,000 words, so I could break that down into 4 sections. That's 1,000, and it just made it so much more easier for me to think, right, I've got an hour, I could do a little subheading within my chapter, let's just get that done. And it really helped me to then not feel so overwhelmed by the process. So that was kind of how I did that. I then essentially wrote the back cover for my book so that I could, and there's lots of things that you can do to keep you motivated. Maybe you might want to write the dedication page where it's like, to my children. That was something that I was really excited to write because it was quite an emotional journey that I went on with writing my book, and it was a really healing process. And ultimately it's all for my kids so I can be the best version of me, right? So writing that when I got to the end was such a moment, but so maybe you might want to start with that to keep you on track and focused. Or it might be that you want to write the back cover so you've again got that bigger picture concept, and it kind of keeps you on track. So for me, like I say, knowing that the intention of the book is to make it as accessible as possible so that women, tailored specifically to women in business, without them having to then translate that, could then pick it up, take it away and actually do the damn thing. Again, bringing in too many heavy spiritual concepts would make it not accessible. So having that blurb, that back cover, just kind of like concept, really helped me. And obviously as I go through my other trainings throughout the course of this week, I'll also circle back to how that can then help you to leverage your book before you've even finished it, for more for money making opportunities, for press opportunities, for visibility, and further opportunities to leverage yourself as an expert. But hopefully that has given you enough. I'm doing a live series every day this week. So I did one this morning because I couldn't do it yesterday, and just literally taking you through the journey that I did as I wrote my book, which really helped me to stay on track, to keep super focused, and ultimately deliver a book that has had the most incredible reviews. Like all of the women that have written it have literally, said it's changed the game entirely, and that was the intent, that was the purpose for me. It wasn't like, how many can I sell, how much money can I make, like how do I become a big deal? It was like, how do I help more people? And I think that the majority of us in here, it's 100% that too. So just as a side note, if you are interested in writing a book next year and that's on your goals list, then I'm going to be launching a program in January, which is essentially Manifest Your Bestseller, and it's all around creating a book. It's up to a 12-month program, so you've got up to 12 months to write the book, and we're going to do it as a community, not only so that we can help support you, keep you accountable and keep you on track, but also thank you so much, but also so that we can create launch pods. So that's another thing that will then be helping you to launch it to bestseller status on Amazon without having to pay for agencies and ads and all of the things. This is literally like £80 a month, ladies. Like it's no huge investment at all. But yeah, I'm super excited. So if you're interested in any more details about that, let me know. But otherwise, I cannot wait to share more with you, because even if you just leave me at this point in the journey and you're taking away little inspirations and tips from what I've done, like that literally makes me so happy, because it's such an incredible way to serve your clients and really heal yourself on that journey, but also position yourself as an expert and all of the great things. So I'm super excited. I hope this has inspired a few of you. And bear in mind, like, I've got ADHD, I'm a manifesting generator. As much as I love to write, don't know if I'm any good at it. I'm not like super academic, super disciplined, super, as you can see, I make up words, and yet I've still been able to get out of my own way and write this book within 3 weeks. So you can absolutely do it, trust me, especially with me and Lisa, who will be supporting us in that process on your team. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, ladies, for catching up and being such a great participant in the comments. I will see you tomorrow.